Hello and welcome, Masha. Thank you so much for hopping on today. I'm super excited to get to know you a little bit better and hear just your own experience. So, I always like to start off just by having you introduce yourself, telling us where you're at, where you're located, and the services that you currently offer.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Kennedy. My name is Masha. I am in Colorado, Colorado Springs. It's the south of Denver. And what I do is a lot of combination of things. Obviously, spinal energetics, but I also incorporate it with some of counseling, parts work, and movement as well, somatic movement and dance.
Ooh, I like it. Um, so, what is it then that drew you into spinal energetics?
I'm sure you know, and I'm sure a lot of people mentioned on this podcast before how spinal found them. I never searched for any energy work. I was really curious about it, but I never received Reiki. I wasn't too familiar or honestly interested in it. But when I heard about spinal on YouTube, it was really strange how it happened. I follow for just the fun of it a lot of tarot cards, astrology readers, and this lady was, decided to do a podcast on different type of modalities in the energy work. And a lady came on, I think she's from Canada, one of the spinal practitioners, and my ears perked up and I just started to absorb all the information. I dove into the rabbit hole, went on the website, watched all those crazy videos with Sarah, Jane, and just got more interested in it. And I learned about the trainings, and it just kind of drew me in. So it really found me.
Hmm. You're right. Most of the people that I talk to, there's this element of like being pulled or being drawn in towards spinal. And I think that's a beautiful experience to have when something just kind of beckons you in and pulls you closer without feeling any sort of force. So, what was your first spinal energetic session like? Was it in person? Was it online? Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, at that time, it was last year, actually, in November. I was in Arizona. I just moved there a couple months before that. So I didn't have any practitioners around me in Arizona. I was drawn to Colorado. That's where I lived most of my life. So I decided just randomly search for a practitioner in Colorado. And I found Amanda O'Mara. I'm sure you're familiar with her, and many other people are. And it was virtual, and it was very unique experience. I felt very safe with her because I've never received energy work. I've had readings done, akashic records, but this is different because you are basically giving your body and away, not away, but just being very trustworthy with the person who's doing the work with you. So it was online. I was lying on the floor, and it was very transformative experience, which I didn't understand what happened. But then I learned I don't need to. So
Yeah. Yeah, I love that you are touching on the trust factor that has to come into play whenever you're doing these sessions. Trusting yourself to receive, a positive experience and then giving that trust to the practitioner themselves because it is something we talk about with spinal energetics. It's a dance, right? So it's between you and the practitioner. I have had the opportunity to work with Amanda. I received a very powerful session from her. She also uses light language too, which was an interesting uh, layer of flavor to that experience. So, with your first session, what were some of the things that you noticed? Maybe just like personally or even in the external around you as to what started to happen with your life.
yeah, I felt like it was gradual. I had another session soon after that, and for me, it was very something I couldn't understand what was happening. I was, shedding tears and releasing a lot during the session. I wasn't moving though in the beginning, and I think a lot of people expect to move the first session, and I definitely didn't. But it was more internal for me. So it was a lot of, it was almost reigniting that part of Masha that maybe I was putting on the back burner or on the back shelf for a while. So it was igniting more of courage inside of me. I work with internal family systems. So I don't know if you've heard of that modality,
That's on
counseling.
my list of things to try. Yes, and it's been
Yeah,
circling in my field. So glad I found someone.
I'm in love with it. I got certified in that before spinal, but there's basically the whole gist is to bring your true self or closer to your true self, that parent self, that higher self within us. And there's 8 qualities usually that are characteristics of that higher self. One of them is courage. And the reason I was drawn to spinal and to IFS, internal family, is because it nurtures that part of you more and more. So you can feel more empowered. And that is the name of my business, Empowered Wellness Services. So courage, I became, I feel like more confident. That's another C quality of a higher self, compassionate, confident, creative, things like that. So I felt like it was igniting a little more of me, bringing that out to the forefront versus just hiding in the background.
Mm, that's beautiful. Yes, I love that. I can really relate to a lot of those experiences, especially just like finding the confidence, finding the courage, um, really like speaking to, connecting to your authentic self, right? I
Mhm.
love that comparison of the whole like putting yourself on the back burner of like who you truly are and being able to really push that to the forefront of, your waking life. So, what is it? Those are some of the things that happened for you internally. What were some of the external things that you noticed around you? Did you notice any shifts in relationships or in family dynamics?
I feel like I took more chances in 2024 because I had the session done in October or November of 2023. So 2024, I don't know if you're into numerology, but I started to dive deep in that, and that was my year 7, which is considered personal year 7 as year of transformation, year of growth, spiritual growth, going within. So I felt like I was forced by the circumstances of universe brought me really internally close to myself. So I had to really face all the shadows, all the parts of me that maybe I did not embrace or accept all the way. So that was one part of the year. The second part of the year, started to take chances. Part of it was applying to be a practitioner and getting accepted, right? Just like for the heck of it. And did I feel like I was qualified, or because I was not in energy work before that, but I still said I'm going to do it. Same thing with internal family systems. I'm not a therapist or a clinical counselor, but I'm a health coach. That's my background, but I still took that chance. So I felt like the work really reminded me that I can do it, and I shouldn't hold myself back from things that I really want to do in my life.
It's sweet to watch you speak about it because I can tell like the more passionate you get, it's like you lean in closer and closer to um, those modalities, those tools that you have, and like you're speaking my language. I love the connection between numerology and that portion of your life, and it seems like you've just become more connected to just those the subtleties. So even though your experience wasn't necessarily energy work, like you still seem so in tune
Mhm.
with the subtleties of energy that's already circling around you. So, what then kept you coming back to spinal energetics?
Well, I honestly did not get any sessions until my training. That was in September of last year in Los Angeles. And to be completely honest, Kennedy, I was questioning, is it real? Until I actually physically was right next to Dr. Sarah Jane. She was literally lying next to me. We were doing our meditation and, training and, had good conversation. But then I got to witness her do a session in front of me, and I just thinking about it, I get goosebumps because I felt the energy field around that table and the person she was working with. So that was one part of it, and then and then I received the session because obviously we were practicing with other people in the room, and I started moving like right away when I did not move in a virtual session. So I felt it was very I don't have much of a fear kind of mentality anymore. I'm very open-minded in my life, but I didn't understand again what was happening, but I had trust in my body first of all, maybe because of my somatic movement background, that it knows what it's doing, and I don't need to control everything that's happening on the table.
Yeah. Trust and control. It's a good dance to be a part of, no doubt
Mhm.
about it. Um, I just you speaking about like that first interaction of like being in the presence of Dr. Sarah Jane and being able to witness her working on someone too, just like, yes, as soon as I got to experience that myself, I was just like, this is dope. This is a wild experience, and I'm so excited to be a part of the ride. And I also love her approach too when people start just like that questioning, like, is this even real kind of energy? Just her like there's something so humble in this quiet confidence that she carries it's just this like wait and see, like I'm not going to push you to believe one way or the other, like you'll have your own experience. So um yeah, I also love that you had the opportunity to kind of have that no movement experience and to graduate into movement as well. um i
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily get that experience myself, and so I love to watch people be able to like acknowledge, recognize, and progress too. So like that's such a treat that you had in your own life, because now that gives you the opportunity to be able to relate and to connect to clients as you continue with your work and with your practice. Yeah.
Hmm. That's exactly what I was thinking because I can, every modality that I've worked with, I do myself. I have my own IFS counselor. I exchange sessions with another lady in Denver, Stacy. So, I continue to do the work myself. So I know not everybody moves and they expect to, but everybody gets exactly what they need from each session, whether it's a physical ailment or emotional or spiritual. So,
Yeah. So Masha, then what if you could describe spinal energetics with just one word, what would that be?
hmm. Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. With one word, I guess alchemize or
Mm,
alchemist. I want to empower people to become their own alchemist of basically transmuting their energy into something that actually helps them and the world around them, because the parts of us that we want to shut off, or some people want to get rid of them completely. I hear it all the time. Like all of my clients hate their parts, and it's really hard to embrace them. But once you learn how to dance with those parts and communicate with those parts, you learn how to transmute that anger, frustration into energy that you can use to better your life.
mm.
So,
It makes
mhm.
me just want to like snap
Yeah.
on that, just because I really can I feel what you're saying when it comes to people just wanting to like disconnect, shed, cut off, remove, but being able to acknowledge that like all of those seemingly bad, terrible, horrible, unfortunate parts of ourselves are actually what gives us the ability to build, to grow, and to flourish in other aspects of our life. So those things, the experiences that you have taught you so many lessons to be able to grow and to reflect and to be able to help others. So I love your choice of word with alchemizing. Yeah.
Thank you. And one more thing I want to add, because lately in my life, I've been encountering a lot of women that are like postpartum and also like menopausal women as well. I was at a retreat actually last March for my somatic dance practice that I teach called Body Stories. And there was a group of 7 women, and one of them, I think she's in her late 40s, and she was literally crying, having a breakdown in front of us, how she wants to get rid of this nagging girl inside of her, which is a part of her, as we know, most likely in exile in internal family systems terms. It's a part of you that did not get attention probably when she was younger, but she never was familiar with her. So she wanted to, literally, she said, I want to kill her. And I was so sad at that point because I felt so much empathy for this part of her that just wanted to be seen and heard. And sometimes you can't talk through it in therapy. I love therapy, but I wish I had already spinal energetics training so I could work with her then. Hopefully we'll work virtually, but it's an amazing practice because not everybody can talk through things or able to. So I love it for that reason as well.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly with that. That's something I've noticed, especially with my male clients. They seem to really resonate with that of not having to talk through their emotions, but being able to give themselves the space and the opportunity to process just the same. So,
Mhm.
yeah. Well, Masha, it has been an absolute treat to get to chat with you and to talk to you and learn a little bit more about what you do. Before we go, if you could do me a favor and just tell everyone maybe your Instagram handle or a website where they can find you. And do you offer online as well as in person?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am in Colorado Springs. I do in-person sessions. If you're able to join me in person, I have a vibroacoustic mat actually that I integrate with my sessions. So it's kind of like lying in a sound bowl. So
Yeah.
that helps a lot of people get out of their head and in their body, which is really nice before the spinal session. So that's an option. Virtually, I offer spinal as well. I do counseling over the phone or in person. You can find me on Empowered Well You on Instagram and also empoweredwellnessservices.com. That's my website.
Thank you so much, Masha. I look forward to observing more of your work in the future.
Thank you, Kennedy, for the opportunity.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.
Okay, thank you.